feel like an old man on this.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You know I love Sundays because it means we get to go live. Really excited to have all of you. Thank you for being on time. So much for CP time. My people are always on time. They're actually early, so I appreciate that. The veterans know what to do. Drop your city and state so I can shout you out. I'm really excited because tonight I have a panel with me, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I see Sai. She is working in the background. She is doing her educational work, and she's going to be chiming in. She is multitasking. I love it. I see we have Christine here. So drop your city and state. Let me know where you're watching from, and we are going to get to all the good stuff. Take a second, if you will, and smash that like button so that YouTube knows this is the type of content that more people should see. And if you're a first timer, I will let you know you need to get out of the chat screen so you can hit that like and then come right back to the chat, because we are going to get into it. We have a lot of really good topics today. And let me see. Oh man, I have my little graphics here. If you guys have not yet purchased, go ahead and get my book, First Date 101. I have polled a bunch of the fellas, over 1,000 guys, and asked them the things that they like and dislike on a first date and why. And I put it all together in this handy dandy guide. So you can get that on my website. Also, I have a course that is coming up next month. It's called Make Dating Fun Again, and I'm really excited because people are signing up and they are getting their seat reserved. What it is it's going to be a course for women teaching self-love. Now, the reason why so many women know the red flags but don't listen to them is because they're lacking in self-love. And when you lack in self-love, you move like someone who is starving. When you are starving, when you have a spirit of desperation, even though it's a dirty word, you start to do things that you would not want to do because it just feels better than the alternative. So if you struggle with adhering to leaving the red flags alone, make sure you sign up. And I think I have one more coupon for people for $30 off. So if you want that coupon, make sure that you DM me on Instagram, and then I will give you that if there's one available. But the last I checked, there was one more spot. I had a set number set aside. So we have, oh nice, Yolanda's in the comments. She says, hey, just humble me. Hey, what's up, what's up? I see all my favorite people here trickling in. And thank you guys. Happy Halloween. I almost said happy holidays. Happy Halloween. I'm glad that you guys are here. You could be anywhere out in the streets getting candy, but instead you're getting ear candy here. That's a sub to my old podcast, Ear Candy. All right, so let me see who is in the green room. In the meantime, go ahead and take a look at my books. You guys can see them there. Make sure you guys snatch those up. And if you would like to support me, you can join my Patreon account. It's patreon.com/Yonci. If you would like to support me, right now I'm getting everything off the ground as far as business-wise so that I can continue to do this stuff full-time. And those of you who have been around know that I'm trying to get my background together right now. So let me just see who's in the green room. See who's here so we can get started. One day, we're putting this in the atmosphere. I will have my VA who can do all this fun stuff for me, and I won't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, I forgot about this option. Hang on one second, you guys, okay? Let me switch my camera because I just did a rookie move right here. Let's see. By the way, I'll let you guys all say hello, but it's going to be weird since you're not on camera right now. But I got to get this fixed. Okay, hang on. Let me choose this one here. Okay, there we go. Okay, and this way somebody said, you know, we can all joke later about, remember when she had to do everything behind the scenes and had to do it live? Yes, this is all gonna be fun one day. Right now it's a pain in the booty though. All right, so here we go. I think I got this fixed. And three more seconds, you guys. Thank you for your patience. All right. Okay, here we go. Sorry guys, sorry about that. Thank you for your patience, y'all. As your name is Miss Super Nerd Yolanda, I could have used you right now because I tried to be all high tech and use a different camera, and totally forgot about when you switch it. Anyways, we're talking techie stuff, but it is what it is, y'all. So thank you for being patient right there. Let me go ahead and clear up my screen. If you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you smash the like. And if you haven't followed me already, you can do so on Instagram. And poor thing, when I say Instagram, now I feel bad, Yolanda. You want to tell them what happened to you before we get started? That's terrible.
My account got hacked this afternoon. So.
Worst fear right there. Absolutely horrible. You guys can unmic yourself, by the way. I'm sorry. I told everyone to mute. You guys can unmute right now. I'm just getting the screen together. I'm so sorry, sis. Like, that is, for a person their business is tied into the gram, it is a really big deal. So really, really sorry that you're going through that.
It is not for me. All I will say to everybody is when you have a moment today, turn on two-factor authentication.
That's good. See, that was for somebody today. Okay, I finally got my screen together. Okay. Hey, Camila, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you, thank you. We got more people coming in the waiting room. I'm so mad. I turned that feature on where you have to go through the waiting room. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to keep adding.
You have to add people.
Manually, yes. I did that last week and then forgot to turn it off. So, hey, Julian, welcome in, welcome in. Letting everybody get settled while we get this thing squared away. Make sure you guys smash that like. I see the numbers do not match, so please go ahead and set that up. Hit that, smash that like, and I'm just making sure the comments, I'm caught up, you guys. Y'all know how it is. Sometimes I just come out the gate rolling, and then other days there is a struggle. So, all right, I think I'm getting off the struggle bus now. Okay, guys, who wants to go first and say hello and where you're joining me from? You don't have to get super specific, but if you want to say your city and state, you can. You know what it's like out here in these internet streets. So, who would like to introduce themselves first?
Hey everybody, my name is Yolanda, aka the super nerd ever on the internet, except for Instagram where I got hacked today. So.
Moment of silence.
I am from all over, but I am based in Toronto, Canada.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so we got Canada in the house. Who else wants to go next? Clark, you want to go next? I'll go in order. I can see you guys.
Hey, everyone. I am Clark Kent. Actually, that is not my real name, but my real name is Kent. So I was like, okay, today is Halloween.
I'm going to go with it.
Go with it. So Clark Kent from Metropolis, a.k.a. New York. So I'm in the New York area. So
nice.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Hope everyone is good. Hope everyone got a lot of candy, and hope everyone will brush their teeth after eating that candy.
You know how I feel about side teeth. So, look, keep your teeth intact.
Very true.
All right, DM, would you like to go next?
What's going on, everybody? My name is DM Woods, a top dating expert out there and the #1 best-selling author. Happy to be here and enjoy this time with all these awesome people. What's up, Super Nerd? See Yonci in the building, and a couple other people that I am excited to meet. So can't wait to get started.
And if you guys are not following me on Instagram, first of all, shame on you. But if you are and you haven't seen my post, you have to look at one of my last couple reels because DM is hilarious. Some people have physical comedy where the way they move is just a riot. He is hilarious. And so there's a reel that he and I collaborated on. If you guys are content creators, jump on that collaboration option because it is amazing. But shout out, this is the man behind the cape and the suitcase. So that was pretty funny. Camila, would you like to go next?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Camila, or Mila. Either is fine. I am from Michigan. So, Ann Arbor, Michigan. I don't know if you guys caught that state Michigan game or not yesterday. I don't know what area you guys are in, but it's a big rivalry game yesterday. I was a little disappointing, but
Aww. Sorry about that.
At least for the Michigan fans, but is what it is.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, we have Julian. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. Julian from Atlanta. I didn't catch the Michigan game, but I'm originally from Ohio, so I don't care who won or who lost. But Georgia won, and I'm in Atlanta right now, so it's a cool day for me yesterday. Suck for you. But yeah, Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all having me on. Should be fun. Excited to see what this is going to be about.
Oh man. All right, y'all. We are going to get right into it. So this first topic we're going to be talking about are all the good men in your friend zone. And I don't know where I am losing my absolute marbles. My entire sheet. Oh, here it goes. I got all flustered with my camera thing. Forgot my little outline here. But there was a post that some of you guys saw where it said, "Where are all the good men? They are in the friend zone. Where you put them." I was highly triggered by that, and I had a lot to say, but I wanted to, and that's what actually inspired this entire live stream. So I want you guys to chime in. By the way, you guys are welcome to unmute yourselves. I know everyone's pretty respectful, so I know you won't talk over everyone, but if it makes it easier to unmute, you can. But who wants to chime in first and just talk about that concept? Because there were a lot of people in my focus group who were agreeing with that statement, and then there were a lot of other people who were triggered like me. So I would love to hear someone who agrees with that statement to go first. Don't everyone speak at once.
Oh Lord. Okay. So I've actually said this statement to a couple of girlfriends, if I'm going to be absolutely honest. So I have a couple of girlfriends who are like, I don't understand why I don't have a husband. And I was like, you should go check your friend zone. I think you left them in there. Now, I don't think all of the good men are in the friend zone because, let's not tell these lies. There's a lot of people in the friend zone because, well, they're realtors in the friend zone. Okay, they're consistently buying properties like they're on a monopoly.
I am done.
And so I do think that there are a lot of good men who often get overlooked because they may not necessarily trigger the adrenaline rush that women have been taught to seek, and they end up in the friend zone. But then there are also some men who there is no chemistry, and it's okay that they're just your friends. Like, I think that people need to learn to be okay recognizing that intimacy doesn't always have to end with like sexual interaction. Like, it's okay to have friends of the opposite gender, and it's actually necessary for you to learn how to navigate and how to be held accountable. But there's some fellas who, they're just not gonna like that match, and then there's some fellas who should have gotten more of an opportunity.
Okay, I think that's a good point. Anyone else want to chime in before I speak my little piece?
I'm gonna have to agree with my super nerd. I, as someone who has been in the friend zone, and I've probably been nominated for senator of the friend zone, I can agree that the friend zone is a real thing. But also at the same point, there is a matter of chemistry. There is a matter of attraction, and just because I may be a great guy, I might have a great personality. For a lot of women out there, I'm not gonna be the one. And I don't know, maybe because I'm a little bit not necessarily older, but like I just turned 41 a few months ago, so I kind of have a more wider view of this, and it's like that's how life is. Like you're not going just because you are going to attract who you attract, but you're not going to get everyone. You're not going to get 95% of all women out there. It's, you figure out who likes you and you just roll with that. So
right.
I'm in the friend zone for a few women. It's like, what? It's cool because just like you said, some of my great friends are women that, don't see me as a husband, but they're able to be there to support me. We can always chat it up. We can always, give each other advice because we actually care about each other because we're in that friend status. So yeah. I agree. I can see how it could be a little triggering, but yeah, I think if it's said with nuance, and I think if it's said with with real intent and not just trying to gaslight people, I guess it's a real statement. So that's it.
And I will say this is the perfect segue for a plug. As I mentioned, actually, let me go ahead and just put this little graphic up. This is the book that I wrote, Why Women Love Assholes. And the reason why I wrote this book is because of this conversation specifically. There are certain things, certain attributes that men, we were just going to call them F-boys or assholes, they just naturally do. That is human nature. We know the laws of power, that book and things like that. There are certain things that they do instinctively that draw a woman in. But the problem is, at the end of that rainbow is not a pot of gold. It's an F-boy or an asshole. So I wanted to give the guys who are good guys the techniques and tools so that they can use it to get the woman. Because just like with a girl who's great, she needs to figure out the things that are attractive. And I think that in this politically correct climate we live in, a lot of times people are like, oh, there's someone for everyone and it's all about your personality. But there are things that you can do to up your game. And I know that there are guys who have had the initial attraction, the initial chemistry, but once I interacted with them, it was like, oh, boo boo, no. One of them being insecurity. That is a huge one. Like if a man fanboys out with me, no lie, if he's like really excited and he expresses it in a giddy way, it's almost subconsciously like he's telling me, I don't think I deserve you, as opposed to just a normal, oh, I like you, I'm grateful to be with you. It's almost like a, oh my God, like he has imposter syndrome. That is not cute. So I get into all that kind of stuff in my book. So grab that if you guys want to read what I have to say. I've gotten a lot of good reviews on that. So a little plug. Who else wants to weigh in on this topic? And then I'm going to get to Just Humble Me's comment.
I'll jump in real quick. I'm one that doesn't agree with it. I will only say, and this is the reason why, is if all of the good men are in the friend zone, that means there must be a hell of a lot of good men available for single women.
It cut out. Available for what?
Zone. For single women, because they're all in the friend zone. So obviously they're not dating anyone. Mm-hmm. These are some wonderful men who are in the friend zone for every woman out there. So they're available.
Yeah.
So if they're available because they're in another woman's friend zone, why aren't the women choosing them?
Right.
It's not necessarily that the friend zone is off. Somebody's chooser is off. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going after a woman that I'm not compatible with, I don't necessarily have chemistry with, or I'm interested in men that I shouldn't be interested in. Is there, like, because the friend zone is you can have friends with women or men that are of the opposite sex. That's just life.
Would you say it's a two-way street? Do you think some of the men who are caught in the friend zone purgatory are also choosing wrong?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the hardest part about when you get to a point in life, in my opinion, so I don't want to be, speaking for everybody. I mean, I ain't, the Lord or nothing, but in my opinion, the hardest part about relationships is when you stop having messed up relationships. When all your relationships stop ending because somebody cheated or somebody was cussed out or somebody was an F-boy or a sorry woman or something like that. The hardest part is when you get one good man and a good woman and the timing is off.
Right. Maybe that has happened to me.
Focused on this, or maybe somebody's focused on that, and the timing is off.
Yes.
That's not necessarily mean that you're in a friend zone. That just means maybe not now.
Right.
So just be patient. Hold your ground or whatever. Maybe somebody will be available, or maybe somebody will just come in there and and swoop in. But just keep your options open, what have you. But
right.
Timing is the most important thing on that.
100%. I totally agree. All right. Anybody else?
I will say I also don't believe that the friend zone exists, like people talk about, just because there's just more context to it. There's, a lot of the reasons that people have said, but it kind of echoes the sentiment. It's either a lack of compatibility, which is the primary thing we look at when we're vetting someone for a romantic relationship. Other things may stand out initially, but what it really boils down to is how that person makes you feel and your compatibility with each other for a romantic relationship. So the notion that there's this just sea of available men in your friend zone is kind of, to me, it's like, no, it's not. They're not for you. They might be for somebody else.
Yes.
But they're not for you. So,
And I think that it's like, that's the difference. So I can meet a guy, and if he's not a jerk, if he's a jerk, he just gets dismissed completely. But if he has traits that make him still a good person, but we just lack chemistry, I will sometimes stay, in touch with that person. And that's up to them if they want to take that. Because to me, if I like a guy and he friend zones me, I'm not gonna stay there because I'm not genuinely his friend. I really low-key like him still. And
Exactly.
if he's with
You're
someone
not
else, I'm
genuinely his
hating.
friend.
Yeah.
You're looking for something different. That's it, Yonci, right there.
Mm-hmm. But if you're choosing to stay there, hey, God bless you. You know, enjoy it.
Wish you the best, but I don't want to be there. I don't want to just be your friend.
Yes.
So what am I sitting here for, to pretend like I want to be your friend?
Right.
In reality, I want more than friendship.
Yes.
So
Yes.
then sit there and do that. It's disingenuous, one.
Right.
And two, it makes you, it's like, and then they say, oh, we're in the friend zone. No, you're not. You don't want to be just my friend.
Now, DM, did you want to weigh in on this before I read this post that I saw about this?
I think it's really interesting when we think about this this concept of the friend zone, right? Of course, we put individuals in a friend zone, and most of the time it happens is because of a lack of chemistry.
Yeah.
Because we're all looking for that, and it's still interesting with so many of the daters out in the environment now. We haven't quite figured out that compatibility is one of the biggest things that we've been missing in the former relationship. Mm-hmm. So when this person misses this chemistry aspect and they're not as exciting, we look over them until we are either pushed to them or we get with the other person. And sometimes life will actually reset us and push us back to that boring person. And then we're in that relationship and we're taking pictures on IG and all that other stuff. So I find it really interesting. I actually saw this in my personal life when I was unintentionally dating. I was the guy with the chemistry and all of this stuff. And I remember this young lady I was talking to, and I was pushing her to talk to this other guy. I'm like, yo, you need to call him. You need to be with him. And I remember her saying this loud as day. And she was like, ew, he's so boring. Now they're together. They're in a relationship. They're on YouTube. They're on Instagram, multiple Instagrams. So I'm happy for them. But sometimes, we do that to ourselves. So you got to know what you want. You got to know what you're looking for.
And I was going to say, I think that, who said about the timing being off? Someone just recently said that. Okay, it was you. Okay, so both you guys. So there was somebody that I had initially liked, and it just felt off. It just felt like he wasn't all in. And I ended up becoming actual friends with him. And then it wasn't until later, the lines crossed and it was just like the perfect timing. And then come to find out, it wasn't that he wasn't interested before. He just wasn't in an emotional space because he hadn't, I'm going to say grieved like it's a loss, but he hadn't totally healed from his past relationship. So I think sometimes it's like no one's fault. You're just in a different place. And looking back, I remember saying, wow, had we stayed connected, I wouldn't have grown, because a couple months later, I went through something that was a game changer for me and really helped to push my healing journey a lot further along. So I like to say, go with your gut. I feel like you should not have to force it. I feel like you shouldn't have to look at your person with like your head tilted and your eye kind of squinted. Like I want to be attracted to my person. I want to be excited about them. I don't want to be convincing myself with a list of pros and cons and Like, if you're healthy and you're not just somebody who goes after toxic things because it's a rush, that's a different situation. But go with your gut, because you might be settling for someone that just seems okay, but then the next person's going to knock your socks off and that's your person. So I'm going to put this post up that I saw. Nice. I saw this post. Kristen says, I always say I'm going to have an extra copy because I be squinting like this trying to read it on my screen. It says, good is a relative term. You could be good, but also arrogant, condescending, unavailable, like I just mentioned, inconsistent. Oh, that's hell. Boring in bed. Oh, Jesus. Can't dress. A wallflower in party settings. All good means is that you have your own place, a job, a car. Basically, you're not a loser. So by good itself isn't good enough or make you compatible with someone. And that goes for women also. So I'm going to just give a little poetry clap.
I believe that person may need to redefine what their level of good is. If their level of good is being a functional adult, having your own place, your car, being able to pay bills, what have you. If your level of good is being like an 18-year-old or something like that, you might want to be like, hey, well, my level of good is faithful, consistent, able to plan a date, that kind of stuff. Because if your level of good is all the way down there, you're gonna be inviting a lot of F boys in there, and then get mad at that.
Because
So I just think that person should like just raise their filter just a little bit more if they're like old, especially if they're over 35.
And I think that that's usually coming from the good guy, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of guys, like I talk to a lot of these people, like I've had extensive conversations, maybe on LIVESTREAM and things like that. And so I'll see certain people raise their hand and cry like, oh, woe is me, I'm a good guy. And I'm thinking like, ooh, your social skills though, like, ooh,
He's employed. He's employed. He gets a W-2 every year. He's a good guy. He's not homeless.
But that's what you hear usually as women. The characteristics that come up as like what makes a guy a good guy. Like maybe you're talking to a male friend and he's talking about his dating troubles, and you go, well, and he goes, well, I'm a good guy. I don't know why she doesn't. Well, what makes you a good guy? And he says some arbitrary, normal adult things, and you're like, that's not what makes a person a good man or a woman. Just like we can talk about what makes a woman a good woman or not. Like it's not, these arbitrary standards that we have set for each other gender-wise. Those aren't what make you a good person. It's usually, I think first and foremost, usually it's about how you treat others and how you are as a person versus
right.
Those, I go to work every day, or I have my own car. Like, who cares? That's really not
the issue that I have with that list, very much in agreement with what Julian and Mila said with regards to, you file your taxes, so that makes you a good person. I have an uncle who once told me that Bentley doesn't have to advertise because its quality is unquestionable.
Say that again.
And I'm always hesitant of people who like loudly proclaim like how like either how much of a good guy they are or like how much of a good girl they are, because here's the thing, right? Like character, like let me put it, good character doesn't have to be validated by like declarations. It's like you have to go put out a billboard about whether or not you're a good girl. Like your character is going to speak for you.
Saying I'm humble, that's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing about being humble, right? Being humble is like denying your greatness. Like you can, I have a whole beef with the word humble, so that's a different conversation. So like I'm always like, whenever a guy's like, well, I'm a good guy, you need a good guy like me, that's an immediate red flag for me, because I'm more interested in somebody who's going to be like, you know what? I'm a flawed human being, but I'm consistently seeking excellence within myself. Because that means that you're self-aware enough to recognize that you're not perfect, that you're not without flaw, but you're willing to put in the work.
Right. From
my experience, and this is me, I ain't gonna speak for anybody else, this is just me. From my experience, all of the good guys who came in loud and proud, bullhorn, rah-rah, sis, boo-bah, cheering, when time finally, started to reveal who they were, I was like, oh, and the funny thing is, like, a lot of those good men in the friend zone, I don't know who mentioned it, are lying in wait. Like, they're literally just sitting for the moment that, like, things go left with somebody else, for them to, like, come in with, like, I call it the sexual healer counselor move of, oh, girl, let me just come over. We're just going to sit down and talk about it. You know what you really need in your life? You need a good man to dig you down. No, sir. No, sir. No, right. I just left a bad man.
They say we need a good dick to lean on, and it's right here. Wait, what?
Therapist. You're vulnerable. Right. So I'm never a fan of like the resume of greatness that like people introduce themselves with in dating. I give this feedback to my girlfriends when they're like, well, I make six figures and I got a master's degree and I own. That is great. What you have named is a fiscal portfolio. But if all of that was taken away, like, who are you to the person that you're with? So when, like, somebody's, like, having a good job and driving a car and, not being homeless and, like Julian said, adulting? So you're an adult. Congratulations. What else is there to you? So.
Hilarious.
Now, Julian does like a woman with a fiscal portfolio. I just will say that.
Let's be clear.
More than like, just, the Bitcoin, portfolio when you go to sleep at night. That's all I'm saying.
I love it.
Be humble about it though, right?
Don't lead with that. You guys, I'm going to switch.
Don't lead with it.
Right, don't lead with it, please. Okay, I'm going to switch to this one. I'm going to put this graphic up so you guys can see on YouTube. So check out this picture, all right? This picture, well, I'm going to go ahead and read this question. This was submitted, I believe it was on my buddy Blair Nash's page. So here's what it says, all right? Lisa's husband had some of the fellows over to watch the football game. She prepared snacks, chips, and finger sandwiches for the day. Very, very detailed scenario, I might add. And as they arrived, she respectfully went to her bedroom. Around halftime, she walked through the room where they are to get her something to eat and drink. She speaks to everyone on her way through and returns to the room where she was previously. After the game was over, her husband tells her that her walking through the room was distasteful and inappropriate. He said she should have asked and he would have brought her something. The wife, confused, said, huh? Why was it distasteful? He said, because of what you have on. I'm going to go back to the picture here. All right. Because of what you have on, her response was, if this was a problem, what would you suggest that I wear? Because whatever I put on will probably be a problem. He said, when my partners come over, could you please just let me know what you need and I will bring it to you. So the question for YouTube comments as well, was her attire inappropriate? And if you guys need it back up on the screen, let me know. Was her attire inappropriate? Did she do anything wrong? Was her husband just being insecure? Or does he have a valid point? So let's hear what y'all have to say. I will add my 2 cents at the end. Oh, and were you guys able to see the picture in the group beforehand? Okay. Oh, he said no. All right, Clark. Well, if you have your YouTube turned on, you could take a peek. I'll put it back up really quick if you have that option. But there it is in all its glory. What do you guys have to say in the comments? DM is cracking up. All right, what y'all have to say? Kat, got your time?
I'm gonna leave it to the fellas because this is the male perspective speaking on what is and isn't appropriate. So I'm gonna wait for the fellas because I'm willing to be a student.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Well, what was funny was here it is in all its glory. That's the part that got me. But this is the thing from what I can gather from this. I'm assuming that she probably had this on before they came over. I'm just assuming that. I'm assuming she didn't change into this. Possibly. I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't have any clothes on. I think somebody probably said something in this scenario. Somebody was looking a little bit too long. He probably saw somebody looking and he felt a certain way because this isn't the first time she's had this outfit. This outfit didn't magically show up. I'm assuming this isn't the first time she wore this. So, we hear these stories, but this one is so arbitrary. It's just some of the stuff we see online that what do you think about this?
Child.
Somebody's like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. I'm assuming someone said something. I looked too long.
So are you voting for doing too much? I'm gathering you're leaning towards the doing too much for the guy.
She clearly has had this outfit on. She's had this outfit before. He's seen this before. She lives there. This is in her closet. This story doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. I feel like this is a made-up story, honestly.
I think he wanted her to wear a muumuu. And not only wear the muumuu, but stay in the back. According to what it said, stay in the back. He said, when my partners come over, I can't read this, y'all, in my real voice. When my partners come over, please just let me know what you need, and I'll bring it to you. So he preferred her to be in the back. Like, babe, I could really use some nachos and a little extra of that dip. That 7-layer dip was smacking. It was, what do they call it? Busting, the kids say.
So let's talk about this type of relationship, though, right? So clearly, this is along the lines, and this doesn't represent all, but a more traditional style relationship. If he's asking her to be, not seen and not heard, right? I mean, treating her almost child-esque, go sit at the kids' table. So she's been in this relationship. I'm almost certain he didn't just pop up like this. It's a random Sunday when the team was playing, right? So for him just to pop up like this on a random Sunday, a random outfit, this is a stage story. That's my 2 cents. So
That
we can continue the conversation.
You're right. She's worn it before. Now what's the deal? That one of his boys made a double take or something when she came out the room in it. That's probably.
I just think I think he was doing a little bit too much, but at the same time, I think he has partners around him that look too hard. And when we are around your boys and your boys start looking at your girl, some dudes do get a little insecure. They feel some type of way. Shouldn't be looking at my girl. But at the same point, if your girl has curves, everybody's gonna be looking. You can't gouge out everyone's eyes just because you have curves. That means that from where not necessarily where I come from, but I understand that if it's just like an intimate setting in your house, like it's just like me and my girl, and she just wants to wear something that's like real skimpy, okay. And then if friends come over, maybe you put on something a little bit more. But I'm like, if that was what she was wearing, like, come on, man, just worry about the chips, man.
I guess
Are the Pringles? Are they sour cream and onion? Like, those are real questions. Like, this is a real question. Is it barbecue? Is it the pizza? Like, that's what I need to know. That's what I'm here to find out. I'm not that. I'm like, this is the 2-second episode. It's one thing if this would be I don't know, if this was a consistent thing. Like, every time my girl comes over, she's wearing like a bra and panties, like around. Like, that's one.
Right, like booty shorts.
Like,
is this lingerie?
Loungewear is like, all right, you lounging and you in your house, like,
right.
All right, doing too much.
Is this lingerie to some men? Because when I saw it, I saw a jogging suit. Maybe because I don't look at women that way, so I wasn't looking at it sexually. I can see she's curves, and then someone else pointed out it was a bare midriff, but like that's something I'd be comfortable wearing to the gym. So is it considered like male lingerie, like lingerie for males? What she's wearing?
I think the question is, I think that's a little bit. I'm more on DM Wood's side here. On like even if it's not a staged thing, I'll just more so answer the question. If it sounds like they live together, that's one. So if they live together, the she needs to be seen and not heard thing. Like, is she a child? Like, is she 9? Is she 8 or 9 years old? I think before we start talking about like what he has on, what her curves are, and everything like that, I think we first need to address why she walking around the house like she's 9 years old. Okay, and if however, if she is in that type of relationship, where that type of controlling relationship or something like that, then yeah, there would need to be a change of clothes, or she's gonna get that type of reaction. So but she could have on a muumuu, jogging suit, a velour suit, a hair wrap, a hijab, whatever she wants. She would get that kind of reaction walking through that house. So, but I just think in situations like that, instead of going down the road as far as saying like, what can she wear or something like that or what have you, we need to be first saying, hey, don't get in a relationship with somebody that you even have to move like that in the house that you're living in. He doesn't need to bring friends over to the house no more.
That part.
That's what that sounds like.
I like
I was waiting for the fellas to speak because I remember seeing this, when you first shared it, Yonci, and I was confusion. I'm gonna be very. I looked at it and I read it and DM. I was like, in real life, this happens in real life, but it does happen in real life because then I remembered that I've been witness to it happening in real life. So here's the thing, right? There's a couple of red flags. Number one, if you go back through the scenario provided, she went through the process of catering, literally, figuratively creating foods for this man to entertain. So that means he was aware that his boys were coming. It wasn't like they just dropped over. It wasn't like it was phone call, oh, we just gonna come over to your house. No, she knew because he told her that they're gonna have guests. So she prepared for his guests. Now, over and above preparing for his guests, after she was done preparing for his guests, it wasn't like she was hanging around, sitting on the armchair, flirting with his boys. She quietly removed herself from the situation and went to the bedroom, did whatever she did. Maybe she watched, a couple of episodes of Love and Hip Hop. Maybe she watched, Guns hosting cheaters. Who knows? But she wasn't in the living room. hey, the fellas were out there, talking stats, talking about who should have, made it their rookie year, who's going to get the Heisman. And then at halftime, she came down, she probably replenished the snacks, made sure drinks were there. And here's the thing.
Oh, she replenished the snacks, all right.
Right? She just, in the scenario, all she did was she greeted folks. Hey, fellas, that's good. Okay, is your team winning? Okay, great. I just put out some more sandwiches. And then she quietly removed herself. The issue that I have with this, like in this entire scenario, is when her man was like, well, I don't like what you're wearing. She asked him, what would you prefer?
Thank you.
And he offered no solutions. His immediate default solution was, oh, you should just stay in the back. I'll bring it over to you. Now, here's the flip side of what's going to happen if she said yes to that. Every time that she sends a text message and says, hey, I'm thirsty. Could you bring me a drink? Hey, I'd love some snacks. Every time that he hops up to leave the game and goes to the back, his boy's going to be like, oh, she got you on a leash. Now it's a problem because then it's going to be, don't ask for too many things. You can only ask me during halftime because now you're making me look like a little bitch in front of my boys. So I need you to pick a struggle. Number one, if you're going to date or be in a relationship with and cohabitate with a beautiful woman, be prepared to understand that other men are going to acknowledge that because you chose a beautiful woman and your boys aren't blind. Number two, if your boy is being disrespectful about how he's behaving around your woman, check your boy. You're in a relationship with me. So if your boy is disrespecting me and I've done nothing to invite that level of attention or disrespect, then I need you to pull your partner over to the side and be like, yo, bruh, I know you see my girl. I know that she looks good. But if you don't know how to act, you can't come to games. You can't come to Sunday night football. Like, why am I being put in the, why is baby being put in the corner? It ain't my, like, like, you want me to get hit by a bus so I'm not as cute? You didn't pick me for being basic. No, sir.
It's interesting that you pointed that out because that was literally what I saw. Because I remember thinking people are gonna have an attitude and be like, "Oh, she's not willing to be a team player." But that was the first thing I noticed. Her first thing was, "Oh, well, what should I wear?" Not, "I have an issue with that." And there was nothing constructive. And like DM said, you guys live together, so have you never gone out before? Do you not agree what's inappropriate or not? Because I do feel like there are certain sexy things I'll wear with my man. I'm not gonna wear without my man. And I would have an understanding with my guy. So it just feels like there needs to be a lot more communication that happens before this time.
I'm going to fight his therapist and not fight his girl because the issue is not her. The issues, no, very seriously, like, I'm petty. I should have provided that disclaimer at the beginning. But the issue is that it doesn't matter if it's her or the next woman because there are going to be two outcomes. Either he's going to subjugate a woman who's not going to feel like she can advocate for herself, so she's not going to argue. And then he's going to start complaining about how she's not sexy enough and he's going to cheat on that woman. Or he's going to continue to go through the cycle of being attracted to highly attractive women, but then feeling threatened every time other men recognize that that woman is attractive. So either way, whether you get a very meek and mild woman who likes to wear, dresses that, just escape the 80s and, look like your grandma's, couch, or you're going to go after baddies, the reality is the reason why you're choosing these women is you're choosing these women from a place of deficiency. Because if you're comfortable within yourself, and if you're comfortable in your relationship, then if you have the conversation of, yo, babe, you look really good today, but the fellas are wild, and next time you want to come out, you know what? Grab a pair of my sweatpants, because they're baggy on you. I just don't want them looking at you crazy, but I did check my boy Troy. He knows better than to act like that. If he does it again, I'll make sure that he isn't around you so you're not uncomfortable. But that is a vast difference between just stay in the back and I'll bring you the snacks and, well, you're like, I see you. That's why I chose you.
Right.
I mean, you may be able to cook. I mean, it may also do the catering. But then, we see you, sis.
Huh?
We are. Come on now.
Hilarious. Just welcoming Essence. I am, y'all, because I be using the bootleg version. I got to get my little screen together. So pardon me. I do know that it's messed up. It's not glitching. I'm just trying to change it up so you guys can see everybody. But welcome, Essence. Thank you so much for joining in, sis. Let me get this screen together. Almost done. All right. If I wasn't cheap, I'd use the paid platform to where I could have it all cute and automated. But, I'm trying to get my coins together. Speaking of coins, if you guys want to drop a super chat, I will be so grateful. You can do it as little as 99 cents or I think up to $4.99. But drop a super chat if you would like to spread some love to your girl. I am doing my absolute best to do everything on a shoestring budget so that I can continue to live the current struggle life so that I can get do this full time. So y'all, this is real. If y'all want to smash that. Also, if you haven't smashed the like button, which is absolutely free of charge, please go ahead and do that now because it lets YouTube know that this is the type of content more people need to see. So when a show is really good, sometimes people get all into it and they're focusing, and I have to do a gentle reminder to please smash that button. Thank you for all the comments, you guys. We have been going so quickly today. We're almost at the top of the hour, so I haven't shouted out most of the comments like I usually do, but I will shout out any that are the super chat. All right, we are going to move on to the next conversation topic, which is the red pill dogma. By a show of hands, how many of you have heard the red pill basically concept? Iffy. Okay, so basically, and anyone correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect, but from what I understand, the red pill ideology is essentially your purpose over the P word, okay? Rhymes with Stussy, kind of. The brand. So basically, purpose over women. There were a lot of guys who were just focusing so much, and part of this I actually touch on my book, Why Women Love Assholes. But there were some guys who were saying, hey, we need to focus on our purpose, and then ironically, that ends up drawing women at the same time. But you shouldn't be making women the priority because it's messing you up. That was the original thing that came out. As a result of all this, there are people who are doing the MTAL, men going their own way, and however you say that, and it's turned into like a lot of women bashing. Have you guys, my question to you is, have you guys seen the rise of these men, and I hate to say everyone thinks they're high value, but have you seen a rise in men who are just pushing this agenda like women are the enemy and you shouldn't deal with them unless it's sexually? Have you guys started to see a rise in content, you know, with this kind of narrative?
I guess now I know where it comes from.
I think I've seen some content like that. It is very hard to watch. It is very hard to listen to as a woman, hearing that kind of opinion or perspective, or just degradation of women in general. Like it's a really blanket generalization about women.
Yeah.
And it's, you almost want, but those men are also the men that they don't come out and say that's what they're doing. They do a lot of misleading, a lot of manipulation, a lot of pretending and masquerading to be what they think women want, or what they, generalize, which most, there are a lot of things that, it's very easy to try to fool women for. And that's what those men do. And that's the part about that culture that is scary when you might meet a guy like that.
Yeah.
He reveals himself slowly, very, because he can't truly hide that, because in his, that's who he is.
Right.
His being, that's his energy, is he really doesn't appreciate, like, love, even
that part.
Want women except for sexual.
It's a commodity.
Prowess, and that's it. So women have to be super aware out here, and I think a lot of guys that aren't like that and don't have those characteristics think we're being overly dramatic, but it is really not. It's a very scary culture of men out there that are like that.
Yeah, and I gotta shout out Natasha really quick. Woohoo! Hey Natasha, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. She went to the top. Hey, if anyone else wants to drop that, you can do that. You can also put a comment. And I'm sorry, guys. I am over here. I have never had spam on my live stream. So if you see me a little bit distracted, it's because I'm trying to get these little plugs off of here. I wish I could have another person doing it for me while we're on it. But
in the chat, as you like, I'm just like report spam.
Oh,
report
thank
spam.
you. Okay, because I was hoping you guys, if you guys see it, you see these little like porn ads or whatever, just please, it's hard for me to try to do the show and keep up with it, but I just don't want to, have to keep dealing with this stuff on here. Okay, but thank you, Natasha. Appreciate you. Anyone?
I didn't know that the philosophy was called red pill. I had conversations with self-proclaimed incels, which is, I mean, if you've come across red pill, I mean, red pill is like entry level, incels is like a whole nother level. I've had conversations with, disciples of the school of Kevin Samuels, who often, talk about I think also under the red pill category overall is like the manosphere. which is kind of more leaning to the original context of the red pill based on your description. And then there's like the hyper abrasive, very abusive, like incel type of rhetoric, and that's kind of bled over and starting to like kind of meld and meet somewhere in the middle. Now I met Yonci on Clubhouse, and many a manosphere conversation has happened on Clubhouse, which is where I first kind of started hearing like the rhetoric more so, and then I started seeing it pop up on TikTok, and it was very disconcerting because it was like 16-year-old boys like pushing the narrative. Or I don't know if you guys have seen, I forgot what his actual name that he claims he is, but I now call him Curtain Rod because that's what he got dragged as. He's the guy who's like, he's standing in like his mama's living room with like a curtain that's like nailed to the wall, talking about like, he's the prize, he wants unconditional love and he's only going to get it from his mama. But these are all the conditions that you need to meet in order for him to love you. Anyway, he's been dragged left, right, and center by TikTok. So when I first heard this, my reaction to the red pill philosophy is it's one more of curiosity than like being affronted, because I don't look at people's behavior as like this is who the person is.
Mm-hmm.
All too often, a lot of our behavior, if you're looking at like toxic or detrimental behavior, is a symptom of the disease. So if you study psychology, you understand that a lot of the behaviors that people exhibit are the final outcomes of a trauma or a negative experience that they have gone through that has basically formed their perspective and how they show up in the world.
Yeah.
So when I look at, a lot of the men who I've had conversations with, whether it's on Clubhouse or whether it is, on any other platform, and they kind of pushing this narrative of, women are just there for sex, and, they, what I say goes, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. My default reaction is to want to investigate why that philosophy resonates so much more with them, rather than just being like, oh, throw this man away. Because in order for you to ensure that when you are raising young men, because there are men who are going to come after these men, and there are young boys who are being impacted by this, in order for men who are actually interested in creating a more holistic perspective to understand how to negate that, you need to understand what the motivation was. Because if you understand that, this man who now has basically dedicated the last 10 years of his life to, making 7 figures and getting to a place where, he has, all of the cars and the big houses, and he treats women like these, sexual exploits, did this simply because, his mother never hugged him as a child, and then his first girlfriend cheated on him with his best friend.
Right.
Okay, cool. He's operating at a trauma response. But you now know that if you have a young boy who you're mentoring who gets cheated on, it's a conversation about the deficiency in the women, but she's not in the woman who cheated on him. She's not a representative of all women.
Right.
So when I see people having these very extremist perspectives, number one, you're entitled to feel what you want to feel. I don't actually have to endorse it. But number two, if you want to have a conversation with me, then educate me on why this philosophy is so important to you. And I'm not going for a superficial response. I'm getting all in your business because you made it my business when you decided to get disrespectful. So I just look at it and I just see a lot of angry men. And to a certain extent, there are spaces that have denigrated and minimized men. So I can understand that some of it is almost like a reflex of defense. But then when it starts to escalate and it starts to become, men talking about women like they're literally like cars and commodities, like, oh, when you're done with her, upgrade from the Honda to, the Mercedes Benz, that's when I start to be really concerned, because those kind of statements are always tied to levels of violence, abuse, and aggression against women. And so that's where like that starts to be like a red flag for me.
Right. Essence, did you want to add something? I saw your hand raised. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut someone off.
Guys, I love what Mistress said. However, just to fast forward to those men later in life, at some point now your biological clock is going to start ticking, and then you're going to be forcing or pushing the agenda of marriage and being together, and I'm not about no games and all of that, where we're now taking the position of, I want to take my time and actually fully get to know you, which I feel like that is women's standpoint now, but some men are ready to receive that or hear that, so now we're forcing the agenda. But when you want to play this, let's say the same, what you think we're playing, now you're 40 and now you're 50. Now you want to say where I'm at in my life, I'm at the point. you're at the point where we were always at. So now you're shooting yourself completely in the foot, and now all women, or some women, sorry, my daughter's with me at my gym. Some women are just, you know, dogs, if you will, because they're not ready to settle down 3 dates in. They're not ready to solely just date you.
Yeah.
Because you have said, I just want a woman that's this, and this. You seem like you have all of that. Let's just make this. No, I'm dating. I'm doing the natural flow of to life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. You're just late to the party.
Right.
You're going to have to play the game, and 50-60 may be where you're looking like you're going to find that right woman. It's a sad reality, but we're shooting ourselves completely in the foot and going in circles, and everybody's not trying to be on the same page.
Right. I gotta say this really quickly. We have Keon here. What's really special is that it's his birthday, and he still managed to come on. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to... I don't want to scare my viewers off by my singing, but happy birthday.
Wait, thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be in on the conversation.
Nice. So I was a little distracted. Sorry, I'm helping my little one. Y'all, this is real life parents, okay? Someone was gonna comment, I think, right, Essence? Someone was commenting. One of the guys was, I think, before I had introduced Essence. Did you guys want to say something before I added my little 2 cents?
Yeah, I'll add in a little bit. This is DM, right? So I think the red pill community is probably one of the most misunderstood communities, because what ends up getting portrayed as the extremist, right? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. So as a dating coach, one of the things I have to do is make sure I kind of dig into the breakdown and understanding of it, right? When you think about the manosphere, it was kind of a reaction and a response to extreme feminism. And then once this happened, you know, you see all of these different things start to come up. For example, we know as dating coaches, the average man will not invest into the typical dating coach program. However, in this community, we have PUA, pickup artists. Man will invest in how to get the girl, how to get the draws. They'll invest in that course, but not how to, you know,
improve the relationship.
Date. Yeah. So or improve your relationships, right? So another thing is, when you think about really just the baseline of the attraction from the red pill community, that community is attracting guys building up their confidence, right? Saying, hey, you know what? Guess what? You're worth something too. You know, women are not the only person that's worth something, right? So
that's the what do you bring to the table crew, by the way. I've been meaning to add that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so prioritize yourself and know your worth, because there's numbers that you may not be familiar with. So then they go into this. Now, in this, you also have incels, which are involuntarily celibate, right? So that's a whole nother thing. These are the guys that, you know, women don't typically want. But the reality is there are women out there that want them, but they believe just because they're a good guy, a lot of times they should be entitled to getting, you know, any woman that they're looking at, are good women out there as well. In this, you also have men going their own way, MGTOW, which you were talking about earlier. You also have the black pill, which gets like really, really extreme. So
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, so that's further out, right? So then what we do is we hear these sound bites and these pieces, and then we demonize, you know, all of these guys out there. But when it originally started, it was more of a confidence-based thing. And then when certain communities started to pick it up and they started to exploit it, the next person was the pickup artist. Mm-hmm. Then it kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. So there's different parts to it. So it's interesting because the average person does not talk pro red pill in an average community, because we're so quick to cancel someone. Mm-hmm. But I think if you do your research, there are parts that are good. for man having confidence is good.
Right.
Man actually prioritizing their lives and being intentional, those parts are good. Are there negative parts in it? Hell yes, there is. But a lot of people right now, I think, are throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because in order to sit and listen to some of this content, you have to sit for hours,
yes,
and not just hear those 2 to 3 minutes out bites. So that's my 2 cents on it.
And this was the thing, and I appreciate, so Kev Hick is somebody that I've been new to, love his stuff. He gives women straight game. Like he basically comes at it like a big brother or a dad would. No chaser. He tells what men look for and don't look for, and a lot of men are mad at him, saying that he's a what do they call him? Pander, because he's basically he's the anti pickup artist, right? But he talked about how Red Pill started out as something positive, just like what you said. It was letting guys know, hey, focus on your purpose, just like what I say with women. Work on having your life. Don't make the man your everything in your world, because you're going to be disappointed. And honey, you can't control that. You can control working out. You can control getting your education. You can control traveling the world, you know, if you have the coins. But you can't control a man picking you and, you know, choosing you. And so I think that it gets really skewed. And the thing that's frustrating is a lot of these, I have very special names for them, which I can't say on air, but these special men, they hear these certain comments being made by the actual people who make valid points, and then they're running with it. They're going from don't prioritize women to making the women the enemy. It's not about that, just any more than me telling women going after your purpose. It's not saying that a man isn't great and that you're not going to be excited when you meet him and you can even be submissive to him. Those two things don't even exist. But I feel like, yeah, the people, you might, right, they're not mutually exclusive, but those people who are coming up, those pickup artists, it's like they're just gathering everybody together. So it's super, super annoying.
Let me. I would like to comment on that. Also.
No, please do.
So I'm kind of in agreement with Essence on this one. From a dating coach perspective, or from a psychologist perspective, and everything, I do believe that it's very good to dive into that and see exactly what's going on with those people. Okay. But if you're a woman and you're not any of that, and you're just dating in general, what have you, you're going to end up scarred and damaged. If you're 30-something years old, if you're in your 20s or something like that, cool, you can make mistakes and stuff like that. But like Essence said, you start getting 33, 35, 37, that kind of stuff, what have you, that clock start ticking. Now you start working against yourself. Now you're just, you're taking like more comers than you should. Again, that good guy bar gets real low and everything like that, like we talked about as well. So if you're at a certain age, you should be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If something wrong with the baby, I'm sorry. Okay, so like at the beginning of a relationship, at the infancy of a relationship, you should know what you're looking for. If you're again, I keep saying over 35. If you come in with somebody who is highly traumatic and he has a lot of trauma, you are not Jesus. You do not need to be trying to heal this man and all that kind of stuff will have you at a certain age. In my opinion, if we are going to be having this conversation about these blue, black, red, blue, whatever pills and everything like that, that's other men's responsibility to have that conversation with other men. That's other men's responsibility to be that example for other men. It is damaging and destructive for a woman to be extremely conscious and extremely aware of what a red pill is and an incel is, but can't actually identify what a good man is. I don't think that that's smart. So what I would recommend is spend a lot of time finding out exactly what a good man looks like, what a great man looks like, how to attract this and how to attract that, and if you're running across men that have trauma and you are taking on those men to try to fix that trauma, that is trauma in you attracting trauma. That's what that is. So get some healing, because healed people attract healed people. Broken people attract broken people. So I would just not recommend any woman, again, if this is not your job,
right,
anything like that, don't make it your job.
Right.
That would just be my advice on that.
And I did a thing on it's Alpha Male Strategies. That's the one guy's name that I saw. He was one of the first people.
I know exactly what you're talking. Yeah,
I
he's
listen.
the one I was thinking of. He's really hard to listen to.
He's extremely
I've
hard
watched
because
a number of his videos because I want to understand his perspective, but just not in a way like
right, to respect it,
I've
but
been
to at least
doing
know
it
it's out
now.
there.
Wait a minute. Can you cuss on this?
I prefer not because it limits my ads.
Forget his perspective.
No.
There you go. Yes.
Maybe that's not what I mean.
Don't. Well,
I don't really
what I'm saying,
care about his perspective.
But
anyway.
it's for research purposes, maybe.
I know, but what I'm saying is on that is that like on stuff like that, it's dangerous to even give in a social media world. It's dangerous to even give it air to even listen to something.
That's why I didn't say his name because I'm like I don't want anyone else to watch
Please
it. Don't. I don't want people to know who he. I don't want people to go, oh, look at this guy.
Right.
So, I mean, I stumbled upon him accidentally. So I watched some of his content, just like I watch all types of different content for various perspectives. Of course, there's going to be some that are extremely different and some that are, some that you resonate with and some that are like, what's wrong with this person, right?
Yeah.
So, and with him, every time I watch him, I think, what the hell? What's wrong with him?
And I was going to speak to, that's exactly what I wanted to speak to, what was wrong with him, because I stumbled across it. Shout out to Roommates Podcast, by the way, if you guys have seen their stuff. From what I have seen, they have really good stuff. It's pretty balanced. I don't see a lot of crazy stuff. So for them, I feel like if you're a guy and you're struggling with confidence and you want to focus on your purpose, they give that purely and not all the bashing of women. But, and let me know, guys, if you guys have seen otherwise, but I haven't. But that person that I formerly mentioned, I remember watching his stuff because one of my friends was really excited about him. So I was like, well, let me listen to what he has to say. And he literally explained how he came to his position. And I remember, this is years ago, I was so passionate. I actually cheered up on this video I did because I felt so bad that this is where he is. So what happened was he started out as a normal dude who liked chicks and wanted to be with chicks. So he started pursuing them and doing whatever he thought to get women to pay him attention. But then he came across women who were gold diggers and manipulators, basically just toxic women. We all know there are toxic people in both genders. So he encountered those. So some people, when they become a victim, they decide, I never want anyone else to experience that because I've experienced it. Other people have the opposite. It's, I'll never be victimized again, and I'm going to make someone else my victim. He chose the latter. He chose violence. And what he said was, he's like, I'll be damned if I ever have a woman, da-da-da-da-da. And so he literally won't even call them women. He won't call them ladies, women. He won't even say females, which in some circles is derogatory to people. He calls them B's and H's. B's and H's. And he literally teaches men to use them, have more. I mean, everything he's teaching is to keep a man from actually falling in love with a woman. And so it's so sad because I see the man on the other side. The guy who listened to all this propaganda and is like, oh yeah, this is empowering. I'm not going to get played. But it's a lie. It's a mirage to thinking that this is going to make you feel good, because even after you smash her, guess what these guys say? I'm lonely. Like, I want someone to listen to. I got COVID. I wish there was somebody, bringing me food and checking on me. But these women you're using for sex, you're not going to experience it. And I'll say this last piece before we move on. Let me know if you guys are good on time. If anyone has to dip, no judgment because we're going over. But I will say this, is that oh God, I lost my train of thought. Give me 1 second. I was talking about not being used. Oh, the people saying, what do you bring to the table? This is something that infuriates me. When a man has been around a woman, her essence is not something that can be quantified, in my opinion. With men, we can easily say he makes X amount of dollars. He is this status, yada, yada, yada. But the things that I feel like God has made women special in, they are not monetary things, okay? You can't put a price on a woman surrendering her body for 9 months. Forget the 9 months. Her body is forever changed. Her hips spread. She gets stretch marks. Okay. There is so much that comes with a woman that cannot be quantified. And I think the problem is that there are too many women running around who don't know their power and they're not willingly giving their essence to these men. Therefore, the men don't see their value and they're saying, well, dang, at least let me have a partner who can split these bills in half. But if you're a man who has truly encountered a real woman, you're not checking for her pockets. You know, it's great if she has it, but you see the value that she brings as being that comforter and that nurturer and that soft space to go to. Because if you just wanted someone who's hard and tough and can bring in extra money, you could just have a roommate, get you a dude, you know? So I just think that people are sorely deceived, and I will, till my end, try to put out as much content as I can to encourage people to have healthy relationships. So we got 2 new people coming in, but we're going to switch to the next topic unless someone had something to say on this last one about the red pill dogma. I'll give you guys just a second.
It's Miss Supernett. I just wanted to touch on the last statement that you made about the intangible or immeasurable aspect of femininity. So I've had this conversation with both men and women. So I also hate when I hear what do you bring to the table because it makes my scalp itch, right? But I hate it regardless of whether or not the question is being asked to men and women because I think it commodifies the human exchange.
Yes.
And I think that part of the issue that exists with a lot of adult intimate partnerships is the ability to differentiate the power of value and the power to create value. And those are 2 very different things. So the power of value is who you are intrinsically, whether or not your bank account has, 6 zeros before the decimal point or 6 zeros after the decimal point, right? That's who you are regardless of how the money comes in, because it's not going to be changed.
Right.
The power to bring value into a relationship, in an adult relationship, to speak to what Julian said earlier, is one that cannot be negated or minimized, especially if you're looking to create a lifetime partnership with somebody. Like, at some point, grown folks are going to need to have a conversation about money. Let's just be honest,
right.
Because in a utopian world, we wouldn't pay bills. In a utopian world, I'd never have a conversation with anybody who deals with taxes. Like, I'm ready to go back to kindergarten. However, I think that what has happened with the media and what has happened with modern dating, whether you're looking at modern day feminism or modern day, the red pill community or any other dating narrative, is that everything has turned into this very transactional aspect of measuring people. So when women are raised to look at men, they're now looking at men as like, how does this, living, breathing ATM, become capable of paying all these bills and being a provider, because that's the default statement, but also has to be 6'4", have a 6-pack, have a ding-a-ling that is longer than 6 inches or more, according to Kevin Samuels.
Right.
So once again, what's happened is there's now this checklist. And then the flip side for men is now you're basically looking to be validated, because if you've gone through this process to become this superhuman ATM, basically, then you're looking to have this reciprocated, because you want to know that the ROI on your investment itself is going to be matched to somebody else. But then what happens with a lot of these relationships, because you could both be making 6 figures, but I got 2 names for you.
Right.
Bill and Melinda. Okay? Like, the billions don't really matter if the value that the person brings into your life is only quantified by how often you can swipe your credit card. And I think the issue that I see, and that I've heard yourself and DM speak about, is, are people really vetting people based on the values that are going to be sustainable, or are people vetting potential partners based on the value of their bank account? And the issue with that is, for the men who then see themselves defined as walking ATMs, is that when they interact with women, because that's all you've been trained to present, you're going to be disappointed, because that's all women are going to approach you with. And for the women who've now been also trained to start to turn into these ATMs, so you show up with your resume and your fiscal portfolio, is, well, where is that femininity? Where is that feminine power? And so for me, when I look at these things, I just want to drill back to the humanity of a person. Like, who are you as a man? What made you start to believe this? And if somebody hurt you and broke you, even though it's not my responsibility to be an emotional rehabilitation center, it actually allows me to be able to vet you better. And I think that we can't pretend like these pockets of beliefs don't exist, because then we're doing young women a disservice. Because the other reality of the red pill community is that they think that women over 35 are expired. We're stale. So they're going after 24-year-olds who haven't really mastered vetting processes. So we can't push them into a corner of the internet and just hope that they disappear. Number one, there needs to be an awareness of the fact that they exist, and they're an extreme aspect of that existence. But for those who started the red pill community and who actually wanted to empower men and have them be, self-fulfilling and be very intentional, then it's your responsibility to get loud and proud about, basically knocking down those people who are on the fringes and saying that they don't represent us. This isn't our philosophy. This isn't the focus. But the problem is, it's the fringe, community that has got the biggest microphones and the biggest platforms. So I just say people go back to your humanity, okay, and stop checking for pockets and let's think about.
I heard that. Clark, did you have something you wanted to add?
I did.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I've kind of heard about this red pill community for like a long time. Like, not necessarily growing up, but like I've heard it in the major thing is that this especially like someone like Kevin Samuels. Sorry, I didn't mean to say the name, but someone like him is not necessarily a new thing. It's just a new incarnation. This has always been around ever since I started paying attention to this. Maybe like 2006, 2007. So every amount of time, there's some guy who just speaks to men because, quite frankly, we live in a changing world. We live in a world where 2 generations ago, women stayed in the house. Like what, 1950s, 1960s?
Yeah.
Women were first getting their own bank accounts, and now we have a female vice president. Like, for a lot of men, they don't know. It's a change in their worlds, a change in their norms from what they have seen growing up, and like their belief in that they're supposed to be this man of the house, like you said, walking ATM, supposed to provide everything, supposed to protect everything. But what happens when you're not needed? So you have to find out for yourself at a individual level. You have to find out for yourself, who are you as a man? Who are you as, like, for myself? Who am I as Clark Kent? Who am I as a black man in America? Like, you have to sit down and you have to sit with yourself and you have to answer that question for yourself. So I think a lot of these guys, they talk to men who have been hurt and they feed them this game that appeases to their emotions, but it doesn't help us as a community in the long run. It really doesn't.
I love
that feeds this gender war that, like, it's guys versus girls. It's just like, me personally, I'm kind of tired of seeing the back and forth. I'm tired of the extreme femininity, the extreme women who hate men because they are out there, but they're a fringe. It's like they speak for 90% of black women.
Right.
And then you have men who are out there saying wild-ish, and like they speak for 90% of black men. All of us are pretty much in the middle. Like, we want to treat each other with respect. We want to be seen for more than our physical traits or our financial traits. We want to be seen as a human, and I think we have to have more people pushing content like that, like you said, who are trying to tell you, listen, try to heal yourself, try to get yourself to a level where you have your own self-confidence before you start dating. So
I like that you said that most people are on the book, are in the middle, and it's these loud bookends that we're hearing, and it's not really, because it's the squeaky wheel, really. I mean, it's not the same metaphor, but it's like they're the loud squeaky wheel. Someone else had a comment on this topic. Was it you, Keon? And welcome to the new people who have joined in. Sorry, hey Moreau, hey Ulrich. Am I saying your name, Ulrich?
Close enough. It's Willie on Facebook, but yeah, that's fine.
Oh, hey Willie. Okay, so go ahead, Keon, birthday boy.
I appreciate the birthday wishes. But
happy birthday, twin.
I appreciate you. There you go.
Wait, it's your birthday today too?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we got two birthday boys.
I like this car.
Yes, sir. Love it. I think that it's important for us, though, to understand who we are. And a lot of times we have to understand that from a perspective of silence. A lot. And a lot of people don't like being by themselves because they start to find out too many things about themselves. I was reading this book by by a young man, and he was talking about, he finally took a moment and looked at himself in the mirror. And a lot of people are afraid to do that because they are afraid of the things that they will see there in the mirror. And so when they're going out into the world and people are telling them things, hey man, you got something right here. Well, you don't know that you have that there because you don't look at yourself in the mirror. A lot of times we always want to find ourselves surrounded by other people to affirm us, to do all this stuff. How about you start doing that stuff yourself? Then the other part, and I'm going to leave it alone, we have to be mindful of the people that we're listening to. We want to go and get all of this great advice from all of these people. And this is no shot on anybody here because I don't know you all in that capacity. But we have a lot of people that call themselves these life coaches I need to know what your life is like, because you only present a certain thing, on social media, in your book, or whatever the case is. Present your life as this. But how are you going to coach me on my life? You don't know my life. Yes, I can hear you. I believe that the mark of an educated person is having the ability to entertain a thought and not accept it. I don't necessarily have to accept all the thoughts of everything that you're telling me. But we have to understand ourselves. I think we need to make significant investments in understanding who we are. I have an EDD, a doctorate of education, but I also have a PhD in Keon. I know who I am. And so I can always, dismiss some information when people are trying to tell me that that's what no, I'm not that. I'm not going to accept that.
Yes.
Because all it is that you're looking at me as a mirror and you're seeing reflections of yourself. So take some time to know who you are.
I absolutely love that. And I am such a huge advocate of doing the work. This is something you guys know I've been for the last 6 years talking about love and relationships, but I realize it's the psych behind it. It's the psychology below the surface that is bubbling out and causing these issues. So I feel like it doesn't matter if you have all these rules. If you haven't done what Keon's talking about, is doing that work. And so I want to teach women specifically about doing that work. I'll take guy coaching clients, but my courses that I'm first doing are for women. So if you guys want to do that work, make sure you hit me up. I also want to remind you guys, if you would like to have a special shout out, or you just would like to bless this channel, please hit that super like. You can do as low as 99 cents or up to, I believe, $5. We had already one tonight from Natasha. Super grateful. I'm always going to let you guys know if you can offer to help. Hey, knock yourself out. All right, I'm going to switch over, you guys, to my next question. I was trying to mess with my screen earlier, so you guys probably saw it flashing before. But everyone saw, raise your hand, did you see the Jada memes and jokes and posts? Did everyone see that? Is there anyone up here who didn't? Okay. Everybody was talking, and I'm like, good Lord, what did she say? What did she say? So I finally got to Red Table Talk, because she clapped back hard. She was like, look, she's like, because I got time today. She tweeted, she said, I got time today. Y'all talking all this, whatever. She said, y'all need to go to Red Table Talk and just watch it for yourself. Someone was asking about the super chat. It should just be a button within the chat. You should see a little button that says super chat. I don't know if you have to go out of the chat or not, but it will allow you to make a comment that's highlighted, and you can choose the amount. So if you still don't see it, please let me know, and I will let you know. Okay, sorry, we got a bunch of people who's hitting me up like, I can't make it. And it's actually a blessing that everybody who said they were going to come couldn't come, because we would have had like 20 people on here tonight. But so I watched the episode. Segue, okay? If you guys have not watched that episode with Gwyneth Paltrow, it's one of the most recent ones. Watch it. It's so good. And the irony is that Jada was actually talking about women taking accountability. So the thing that she said in there was, when I got married to Will, I was like a baby. Like, I was so young. And when you're young and dumb, you think that your partner's supposed to read your mind. So I don't know where somebody got this narrative and just ran with it, that she was putting him down in bed, whatever. It's annoying as a content creator. I hate that when somebody takes a tiny snippet, but it wasn't even a snippet. I think she said it's hard, meaning it's just overall it's hard, but they just ran for the hills. So Jada, I'm doing my part to speak the truth. I'm not co-signing everything she's ever done, but that episode was really good. It talked about sex. And Gwyneth Paltrow, I'm not getting paid to promote this, but it is awesome. Gwyneth Paltrow has a show on Netflix called Sex, Love, and Goop. Goop is her brand name, so don't ask, I don't know. But oh my God. You guys, I'm just going to say this. There was a man who had a full-on orgasm to the point where he cried. Y'all heard about women crying after an orgasm, okay? And his member wasn't even being touched. So they tap into all these different things psychologically, it's like love languages, but for sex. It is good stuff. You're welcome, those of you who are couples. And if you're single, do your research. It is good. I've been watching all the episodes like this. I think I'm like 3 episodes in. So it's good. And I'm not getting paid to say it. I just believe that we should do our work. And I will say this, and I'm sorry to go on a tangent, you guys. I'm fired up about this. But they were saying that because of porn, a lot of people have this idea of how it's supposed to be, and there was a part that I was cracking up. You guys will watch it. They even talked about the breathing. I won't do the breathing right now, but that real fast out of breath breathing that women do, right? And it sounds so sexy. But she was like, that's not even normal. You should be relaxed during that time, and it's actually hindering you from getting to where you need to go. So they really went deep with it, no pun intended. And we're talking about a lot of the misconceptions that we have because of porn, why a lot of women can't enjoy it, why a lot of men are limited in their ways of pleasure because they think that this is the only heterosexual way to, you know, just whatever. It's amazing. So I can't say enough about that. Okay, I'm going to shut up, let y'all jump in and let me know what you want to say. Shout out to Mr. Turner watching in. I see some familiar faces. Actually, let me do a quick couple shout outs. We have Mr. Galbraith in the house, our resident trash talker. Natasha shouted her out a little earlier, but she's awesome. We got Sai over here still. Who else is in the comments that I haven't seen? Let me scroll. It's the usual. Oh, we got Mrs. T. I think that's a newbie in here. Link, he's an OG. Hey, Link, thanks for watching. Scrolling. Of course, we got all the spam. Who else? Just Humble Me, I think I shouted him out. And Chastity, hey girl, I saw you earlier. I meant to shout you out, but we've just been on a roll. So if I didn't say your name, I will try to get to it if I see your comment, but I'm scrolling right now, and I think that's everyone. Javon is watching too. Okay. Anyone else have something that they wanted to add?
They're never gonna leave Jada alone. It's always gonna be an extension of the entanglement.
There's no going back after that, huh?
Like, after the entanglement, like anytime that Jada even sneezes in the direction of anything sexual, folks are gonna take it and run with it. And they like, I knew that things had gone left when I saw like a meme of like Jada and Will like on Derek Jackson and his wife's body, and they put like Will's face on the wife's body. And,
Yes.
Like, Derek's body.
I died.
Like,
I'm sorry, Jada.
I know this is a product of Black Theory. That's the only person who can be responsible for this.
That was funny though.
Here's the thing about Jada, right? Because I haven't watched the Red Table Talk. I think the issue with Jada is that Jada like exhibits a level of transparency, but it's like this highly intellectual, like, you know, underlined with spiritual, like eloquent level of transparency. Whereas like if Cardi B said it, like all of the Bardi gang would be like, ah. But like when Jada says this, like, oh, we all clutch our pearls, like, oh, I can't believe that Jada said she didn't know what she was doing when she was in marriage with Will. Like they came on Red Table Talk and said that Jada didn't even want to be with Will. Let's be very, let's
Right.
start there. Okay, let's start there. Initially, Jada had left, she had moved back to Baltimore, bought herself a farm, was minding her business. Will just got his divorce papers, and he called Jada, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Nothing." And he was like, "Come back to LA." Like that's literally how their relationship started. So I think that like when somebody chooses to be like hyper transparent, as the Smiths have been, it will always make other people uncomfortable, and it will always bring out ridicule because it's easier to point fingers at somebody else than to like, you know, like Keon said, hold the mirror to yourself and really ask yourself, you're triggered by it, and B, you know, ask yourself, are you really doing what you're supposed to be doing in the bedroom? Because just because your girl is hyperventilating doesn't mean you're putting it down. So I think that, you know, Jada, you know, I don't think she really cares at this point. I mean, she's doing this with her mama at the table, so I mean, can you really comfort Jada at this point? Like,
Right.
Come on now, Gammy sitting across from her going, really?
And I applaud. If I could say this really quick, I applaud, and Gwen says this huge on Netflix because these people are getting naked on Netflix. I mean, it's not hardcore, but there are scenes where you're like naked and you're being vulnerable. And I feel like so many of us have learned things through TV shows, through the internet, okay? Not everybody has the humility or the courage to be like, hey, dad, hey, mom, or hey, brother, whoever, to talk about stuff. And there's some things that no one else that you know has gone through, or maybe you just want to put your business out there. So shout out to the people who are having these conversations that we can, in the privacy of our own home, watch and learn and take notes. So I think that is amazing. I know I sure as hell am not comfortable. I won't even talk about my sex life, you know, so it's just, that's not for me. But God bless those of you who are willing to go out there and use yourself as educational. Shout out to Elizabeth who joined in. And you guys, I have so many topics that we're going to go through. I'm actually going to do a part 1, part 2, because I don't want to just keep going. We'll be like 3 hours in. So any of you guys who are on the panel, you have an open invitation to come back next week as well. I'm just putting it out there. But I'm going to make this one be the last topic. Those of you who follow on Instagram, you saw I did a preview of the topics. We'll do the last 4. We did 4 of them now, and we'll do the last 4. We'll come back because this is good stuff that I think we need to talk about. So who would like to chime in first? I see Willie's hand is raised.
I want to respond to that because you said, can you come from Jada? I mean, the young lady said, can you come from Jada? And as a man, absolutely you can. Just because she's hyper transparent, that's a choice she makes. And she's making that choice at the sacrifice of the reputation and the respect of her husband. So you can absolutely come from her. And maybe this one time, correct, like I watched the table talk as well. That's not what happened. She didn't say that it was hard to have sex with Will. She didn't say that it was bad, like you said. That's not what happened. But a lot of the major news and blog outlets ran with that excerpt. It's clickbait. It's ClickFunnels. You know how that works. But you also have to realize she has a track record of doing this, because less than a couple of months ago, she said that she still doesn't even know what being in love is. And for this woman to be married for so long as a prominent man, that's not something that he needs to have out there. Because again, you have to realize Will Smith is probably one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, even today, especially as a black actor. So now he's around his peers. What we don't like as men is for our women to embarrass us.
Yes.
Once we achieve that type of status and that type of success, the last thing we want to hear about, is our woman. We'd rather hear about our kids going out doing something crazy, maybe like, the Kardashians or the Hilton's kids did. But we don't want to hear our woman on TV, with millions of followers saying that, well, I've been married for this long and I still don't know what love looks or feels like, or whatever her exact words were. So you can absolutely come from someone that has a history of doing that. She has a history of embarrassing her husband now. So even at this one time, correct, we both understand that's not what happened.
Right.
She has a track record of doing it. So it's kind of like, you catch someone stealing twice, and then, so much they get accused the third time, you're going to be like, well, hey, they probably were stealing the third time too. So that's how you do it. But that, I want to overshare just because, under the guise of transparency, and she's like on this Erykah Badu spiritual stuff, that's still not okay, because first and foremost, our obligation is to her husband, not her fans.
I guess my pushback with that is that Will is one of the executive producers of Red Table Talk, which means every episode that goes out, he knows what content is going to be released. Which means as somebody who's sitting directly in the space of funding this in partnership with YouTube, he has the power to veto the content that's going out. So it's not like when these episodes come out, Will is suddenly finding out from Twitter or from, Instagram that this is what Jada said. He gets literally if you've worked in TV production, you literally get the final cut before it's released to the public so that you can make a decision about whether or not you want it to go out there.
You said yourself that he's one of the executive producers. He's not the only one.
There's only 3 listed executive producers: himself, Jada, and YouTube. So
if he was outvoted, then that's why it's out there. I mean, I'll use your own argument against you that he's one of the executive producers.
Well, I'll also say about Will and Jada. So if we're having a conversation, and I will also say, I believe on this call, I'm the non-traditional person on here. So it's what I think most people on the call are more kind of traditional people. I'm more of a non-traditional relationship. So the first thing that I would say is that as we're talking about this Jada and Will relationship, first, we can't talk about this through the prism of a traditional relationship. What a man and what a woman is supposed to say, or how a man or how somebody is supposed to say as well. So when we start talking about Will Smith is this here, and Jada has a track record of that. What I also see is through this thing about Jada and Will is the misogyny on there as well, because for some odd reason we know a track record about what Jada is saying, but ain't nobody talking about the track record of what Will Smith was saying. Nobody's talking about the GQ magazine when he's talking about he's got a hair of a women and he did this and he had all this kind of stuff, and Halle Berry. He's naming prominent actresses as well, who he was dating while he's dating Jada Pinkett Smith. No one's talking about the multiple interviews that Will Smith does on his own podcast, on title interviews, on all kind of interviews, when he's also saying the exact same thing that Jada Pinkett Smith is saying right now as well.
People are talking about that.
I'm just saying the only thing that is highlighted, because Will Smith has said way more stuff than Jada. However, in this relationship, they have a transparent relationship. Like as Miss Supernerve said, each person knows exactly what is being said before they get out there. They are putting out what the struggles of a marriage is. I have been married before. The problem with social media and everything is that for some odd reason, we think that after 20 years or 23 years, what have you, a person doesn't get to say, hey, I don't know what love is. When in actuality, the highest years of divorce is in year 2 and year 22. It's when the kids get out of high school. And what happened is that all the kids have graduated and everything like that. And then we're in this relationship.
You're stuck, the two of you.
No one knows, like, hey, we were both just here for the kids. You have a woman who have gotten pregnant early, or pregnant or married early and everything like that. And then a man or she decides that, hey, 40, 50 years old or whatever, who am I? As well. But on the whole, Jada and Will Smith, I do believe that if you are looking at their relationship as a traditional, what a man says this and what a woman says this, Jada Pinkett Smith is a very, very high prominent woman in Hollywood. Maybe not on the screen as Will Smith, but if you check her production, if you check her sitcoms, if you check her TVs and everything like that, Jada Pinkett Smith is a person onto herself. But I will also say, research Will Smith's interviews. Will Smith goes in much more deep detail into their relationships than Jada Pinkett Smith. But people can just keep reading headlines rather than actually just listening to and actually reading the entire interview.
And I also want to say this too, is that I think that so many people are quick to judge when someone speaks their truth. But for me, I just applaud the truth because it's so hard to say something that is not status quo. It's really hard to say, look, this is how I was feeling. Like moms who are supposed to feel loving and nurturing. When the first person came out and talked about postpartum depression, that was probably hard because you're going to come with the bandwagon of people like, oh, you're not really a good mom. How would you not want to bond with your kid? How would you be annoyed when they cry? You're supposed. It's like, that's not your truth. So my thing is, speaking your truth should not be punished. Now, if you go out and do something that there are consequences for that affect me, okay. But if all you're doing is speaking your truth, I actually applaud that. Even if I don't like you. I posted a comment. I said, man, this dude's wild for this. And a lot of people chimed in my group saying, actually, at least he's speaking his truth. And I had to agree. I was like, you know, that's true. I'm judging his statement because I think it's ridiculous, but that's his truth and he's owning it better than a person who's trying to be lurking in the shadows and acting like that's not how he feels. Because the comment was something wild like women are only good for sex. Okay, cool. You have just marked yourself for all of Instagram, so everybody who sees you knows like, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. We're dealing with this type of person who probably has these particular grievances. But I will take a person who speaks their truth more. And I have always said I've had an opportunity to be on some shows, always turn them down because I am not prepared to be a sacrificial lamb for the sake of other people. So I give so much respect, so much props, so many props to people who are willing to put themselves out there because I have learned vicariously through other people. And so for somebody who can get on a TV show and expose their relationship, expose their shortcomings, expose all the stuff with the other person's consent, as I don't believe in telling someone's story, I applaud that big time. So
we're saying that we shouldn't look at these people as traditional. We have to understand that people who are having this conversation in large are traditional. So that's why we get the pushback that we get from where you're saying, well, you can't say that she's embarrassing. Absolutely can, because again, we're not worried about what their relationship is like. It's the fact that the traditional men who have an issue with this, that make all the memes, like you see me post a few because they were funny, like that make these memes, they're basing on the fact that, hey, this woman embarrassed her husband, and that's where they're coming from. We all understand that Will Smith had an interview with GQ where he said that in his lifetime he has had a harem of women. He listed a bunch of women that he would have liked to sleep with, but didn't get to on Jada Pinkett's accord. He also kind of alluded to the fact that sometimes she gets a hall pass. All of that being said, if these things were equal, and when she had the entanglement issue, I don't think that Will Smith would have been hurt if he knew about it. And if their non-traditional relationship is based on honesty, communication, transparency, then she would have been transparent that she was grooming August Alsina.
He said, but Will Smith did. Will Smith said he did know about it. They knew about it. They knew about it prior.
Before the show.
Knew about it. They knew about it prior to what came out is that August Alsina, he got sensitive or what have you, and decided to boo-hoo online and everything like that, and actually put out that relationship. But again, but it's so when you say that you can't comment or you shouldn't comment on a non-traditional relationship from a traditional perspective. So myself, I can be monogamous or I can be polyamorous. I can have an open relationship and everything like that. If I am with my partner and we choose to have an open relationship, or we choose to have an ethically non-monogamous relationship, and I know that my woman is going out and on a date or something like that with a guy, and I'm fine with it, and other people know that I have a non-monogamous relationship, they can't say, "Oh, look at her disrespecting him." No,
Right.
that's something that's something that we chose. That we choose that. We choose the boundaries. We choose the lines also. So anyone who is actually trying to comment on that non-traditional relationship, no, they have to change their opinion and say, hey, are these two people, within my opinion, operating under the scope of their boundaries, not the made-up boundaries that I'm trying to project on my relationships onto theirs?
They probably have to change their perspective, but that's not going to change their opinion. And then, two, if he knew about it, he wouldn't be on TV crying.
He was crying about the potential of divorce, not the potential of cheating. And he
It was it sounds good, right? But then you also have to realize these people are celebrities, and they're going to say whatever they need to say to save face. So,
and the other thing that we have to take into consideration is they said it. So speaking on their behalf, when the person has clearly said, if somebody says, this is my truth, this is what I've chosen, this is my experience, we cannot, from the outside looking in, not be present in those interactions, then say, well, no, what you're saying is you're lying because it doesn't resonate with me. So when Jada had her entanglement episode and they discussed the whole August Alsina situation, number one, the August Alsina situation happened when Will and Jada were separated. That is not different from any other monogamous couple that has ever gone through a separation and somebody has decided to date somebody during the separation and then realize, you know what, no, I would rather fight for my relationship and go back to my partner. With that being said, what Will specifically said on the show was, what hurt me in this situation was the disconnect that I felt, and I was scared of losing my best friend. He wasn't afraid of the end of the marriage because they had both come to a point, as they both stated, where they realized that they could not continue to function in their marriage as they had done before because neither one of them were happy. Now, fast forward to this episode, what Jada specifically said in this episode was she was taking accountability for her unrealistic expectations that she projected on her husband about how he was supposed to come equipped and prepared to satisfy all aspects of her without truly knowing her. But the media and all the blogs misquoted, then decided to run with to tie back to the entanglement situation was, oh, Jada said that Will wasn't great in bed, so that's why the entanglement must have happened because we've all seen August Alsina's leaked pic.
Did you watch the episode?
Yes, I did. And this is what I said in the chat. Here's the thing. First of all, these are celebrities. So their reality is vastly different from anybody who works a 9 to 5, whether it's PR, whether it's psychologists, whether it's whoever they're in relationships with. They navigate in spaces that are not going to be the standard traditional wedding or marriage, considering who you're looking at. Because we could also look at couples who have been revered as great black love, like Ruby Dee and Ozzy Davis, who are in very publicly open relationships. So, as I said in the chat, at the end of the day, if you're observing what Jada has said or what Will has said, and it doesn't resonate with you because you're looking for a traditional monogamous marriage because you don't believe in open relationships or, ethical non-monogamous marriages, that's perfectly fine. The observation is I have seen that this is not functional for me. The lesson learned is I do not want to participate in this relationship. However, I'm going to go back to the fact that Will Smith was very aware of what content was going to be put out with his name in it. If he was uncomfortable with it, he, as an executive producer, whether or not he had 33% voting rights or 45% voting rights, depending on the legal agreement, had a reason to say, you know what, this doesn't work for me, shut it down. Or he recognized that this was going to trigger a firestorm and it was good money. That's the flip side that we keep on overlooking, that this is still a business that Jada's operating in. And Will might have been like, yeah, say what you got to say because our bank account remains Metro Boomin.
And if you think about it from a marketing background, because our marketing background, I was like, this is genius. So I don't put it past somebody to even start that conversation because guess who hasn't watched a full episode in a very long time? Me. Guess who recently watched a full episode? Also me. So it is genius. We're talking about it now in my show. So he could very well be behind the scenes like, well, let's already plan. I'm just hypothesizing, but I'm just saying.
Did anyone? Two different platforms also. She has Facebook. He has YouTube. And they just crisscross on the conversations on two different platforms, both being executive producers on both different platforms, going into the same bank account.
Nice.
So, the great thing about the internet these days is good attention, bad attention, whatever. Make up any story that you want to. You have not heard anything about Will Smith for 30 years. Nothing about Will Smith for 30 years. And when he decided to turn 50, he said, you know what? Let's just get everything out or whatever. and he shot to the #1 person on the internet in like 3 months.
That's wild.
Genius.
He didn't even have IG, I think, right? Something like that. Yeah.
He had no social media.
You guys are absolutely amazing. I want to say we used to do marathon lives back. If those of you who go way back with me, you know when I was trying to get officially on YouTube, you have to hit certain numbers, 40,000 watch hours, whatever. So we used to do marathon shows. And after I hit that point, I would cut everything at an hour. But this has been so good, you guys. We are going on an hour and 45 minutes, and it's credit to you guys. You guys have really been bringing a lot to the conversation. Comments have been lighting up. I'm going to go through and watch them after the fact. But it's been really, really good. And I hope that you guys will be back eventually. It won't just be your first time around. But shout out to all the new people. Raise your hand, please, if you are new on this. This is your first time being on my YouTube live stream, because I think that the majority is new today. And I was looking at it today and I was like, wait a minute, we have like almost all newbies. So I think Essence is the only one who's been here. Wait, have you been on a YouTube though? I'm trying to think if you, okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I think you've been on YouTube before. Keon, you're right. Keon has too. So I like this. I like the fresh new meat. I love having these dialogues. It's so much easier than trying to go back and forth on a platform when you get to really get your thoughts out. You hear the, intonation and the voice and all that stuff. And I want to say, can we do a golf clap for yourselves, you guys? We are showing that men and women, black men and women, can be respectful. We can have differing opinions. Nobody called people out their name. Nobody was disrespectful. Nobody was screaming. Nobody was over talking people. It is possible. And so even though the narrative is put out there, like whoever said before, it's these loud people on the end, the majority is normal people like us, okay, who can actually think and, hold themselves to a normal person standard. Can we give some love to the birthday boys? Once again, birthday boys, wave. Wait, the other one, oh yeah, you guys moved to my screen. I was like, wait, where did you go? Thank you for spending the end of your birthday with me. That is awesome. I am going to do a plug. I'm not even going to say it's shameful. It's shameless. Shameless plug here are my 2 books. If you haven't grabbed it, do it now. Why Women Love Assholes. This teaches men the psychology behind women are drawn to certain things. I don't think it's good or bad. It's just a thing. There are certain things, just like the laws, the 40 laws of power, certain things that women are drawn to. So I broke that down. And then the book for women is First Date 101, a man's guide to dating a man, because I'm not going to tell women how to date a man. I'm going to let the guys do it. So I did my interviews. I got all the information from the guys, and then I brought it over to you guys with that book. So make sure you grab that. Let me go back to my screen. Did anyone want to share anything on the way out that I missed? Anything that you guys wanted to say? And it doesn't have to be on the particular topic, but anything with love, dating, sex, and relationships. Did you want to chime that in before we head out?
I hate that I missed the red pill part. That was probably the most exciting section for me.
And I was going to say, that was why I think the one I invited you on for it, yeah.
I'm 130% sure that's why. So, but yeah, there will be another opportunity, so I'm sure I'll double back and catch it next time.
Okay, definitely. Well, thank you guys, and for everyone watching, if you haven't hit the like button, you still have an opportunity. There are 3 of you out there. I'm not going to call you out by name, but there are 3 of you out there who haven't hit that button, so make sure you hit it on the way out. Thank you so much, everyone. If you choose to stick around and hang out in the green room, please mute yourselves right now. I'm going to do my official sign-off, but I will come back to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, tell someone that you love them.